Excellent. Well, this across the top was the deer's back, okay? Down here was the deer's back leg, and the deer's front leg was off over there, and the head came up through this little slice, which is now an armhole. Okay, so that's kind of the deer shape.
Today we have Nancy Faibanks. She's an artist in residence who has come into our school to work with fourth graders all week. She's been doing different pottery activities throughout the week based on Native Americans, specifically the Pawnee. We've done this ever since I started here 6 years ago, and Mrs. Desire, our principal, is the one that lined up a grant. So thanks to Mrs. Desire, we were able to bring in a local artist who can share experiences with our kids. She has artifacts, she has firsthand artifacts. She grew up in a Pawnee culture, so she can tell the kids stories. Yesterday she brought a buffalo robe that the kids could touch and feel and sit on. She has firsthand experiences and then attaches them to what she's teaching the kids.
I am working with the kids this week on Pawnee Pottery. They're learning the history of the Pawnee from this area while making art projects. They're building replicas of Pawnee pottery, and they don't realize they're learning the history. Today they're learning the coil method. We talked about the coil pots, the cooking pots that the Pawnee used, and we have learned several different forming techniques this week. Also talked about the culture and civilization of the Pawnee in this area. And by incorporating the arts and history, it's a great way of combining their social studies and the art projects. In this week, we have done the sage pots from the Pawnee. We start with the early ceramic period and talk them through the whole cycle of the Pawnee on the plains. We started with the sage pots, the basic pinch pots. That's the primary beginning of the clay work. We talk about the history of the pottery art form. We've talked about how clay is made and how it was made millions of years ago and chemically everything that they need to know about that. And then brought them full circle up to today. The coil pots are the last piece before modern pottery. So we've gone through the coil pots, the cooking pots, the sage pots, the paint pots they used for the painting ceremony, and we even created a sculpture out of pinch pots, made the buffalo. When we talk about different parts of the Pawnee life, I bring in artifacts from there. We do talk about buffalo quite a bit, how the buffalo were responsible for the Pawnee survival on the plains. So I bring in a buffalo robe, and we talk about the different parts of the buffalo that were used by the Pawnee. And we've brought in the buffalo robe, some furs from, some hides from coyote and beaver and different kinds of animals that they used for the food around here. We talk a lot about the buffalo horn, what they used that for. Bring in some bones and some shells and some different pieces of clothing, the leather dresses, leather clothes that the Pawnee have used, and the necklaces and some of the weapons and tools that they've used. The kids love the hands-on in the clay. Actually, they don't realize how much history they're learning. Of course, clay is a great material for kids of all different levels because they're always successful in it. It's not something that they're going to fail at. Whatever they do in the clay is successful, and that's really important for all the different levels of kids. They do learn the history of it. I will have kids years from now come up and relate stories to me about history, and they don't realize it's history. It was just fun. I have a pottery studio south of Grand Island by the Hall County Park, and I do offer workshops and classes for all ages, from kindergarten through age 94, I believe is the oldest that I've done. And we do workshops and classes out at the studio on everything from the hand building to sculptures to wheel throwing, lots of different pit firing and raku, the ancient Japanese method of firing, lots of different fun workshops that we do out there in the studio. I also do projects through the Kids College with the Hall County Extension Office in the summertime. But people of all ages come out and do workshops at the studio. And now